is where we discuss the possibilities.
Hey guys, I'm Joe Klimczewski, founder of The Diet Doc, and we're here with an incredible guest, Michelle Gomes, who is out in the Sacramento, California area. Thanks, Michelle, for joining me with your buddy to your right there behind your shoulder.
Yeah, she's my appendage.
All right. Yeah, I know you're a huge animal lover. I've been out your way several times, and I know you love to rescue cats and all that. So that's amazing. I couldn't imagine you without a cat on your shoulder.
Yeah. You are right. They're surrounding me all over the place here. But you are right. I'm kind of the crazy cat lady.
That is your thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how many people don't know you, but they should. And I'm going to explain your biography this way. I have known you for close to 20 years, maybe even right at that mark, because you're one of the best figure and fit body competitors in the history of this sport on a couple levels. So when I met Michelle, it was when I was doing some speaking out at Nancy Andrews' camps in the Boston area. Nancy is the co-owner of the WNBF and INBF at this point. She's been just a monster promoter in natural competition for decades. So that's how I got to know Michelle. So we quickly started working together. Michelle, you won at least one pro card in figure in the natural organizations, WNBF specifically. Then when Fit Body came along, you did that. You immediately started winning pro world championships, just dominated everybody. Nobody could keep up with your intensity, your physique, your stage presence. Everything was just impeccable about what you did to the sport back then. Then you decided, this is okay, but let's go to some bigger oceans. And you decided you wanted your IFBB Pro card. And that's a tough place, especially for a drug-free competitor. At your best, you're in the 105 to 110 pound range, sometimes a little bit heavier if you're trying to bring more size to the stage. But through a lot of struggle and competition and improvements, you went on to win NPC Nationals and become one of the rare IFBB figure pros as a lifetime drug-free athlete. So it's just amazing to me what you have accomplished. And I want to get into some of that. I want people to understand, as somebody who, trains as hard as you do, you've worked as hard as you have for a long time, you had a lot of goals you had to accomplish and steps to take to get to that level. So what was it like winning those first titles from a pro card to pro shows to pro world championships, then trying to make the jump into the IFBB?
It wasn't actually intentional as far as kind of a goal to get my IFBB Pro card. It just kind of sort of happened that way. It was actually pretty shocking, but I enjoyed very much the natural industry and being involved in the WNBF. I think it was more a matter of wanting to compete a lot. And NPC has a lot of shows, so I had a lot of opportunity to get on stage, which is just what I wanted to do. So that's basically why I was even kind of considering the NPC, and I happened to do well there. So I just kind of took the next steps and went to nationals and. That happened there, which was, I didn't expect that at all. And even when it happened, I didn't know what happened. My friends had to tell me. So, it was interesting and, kind of another world, and then I felt like I was, kind of a kindergarten, going to college. So.
Right. And what's funny is I still use your story quite a bit in peaking lectures in showing how you dominated one category, one organization, one genre in the sport, then moving over to the other side into different organizations. They have different criteria, different judging looks, things that they want to see on stage. And it was a little bit of a nuanced challenge trying to find exactly how to modify your look. And the irony is, when we were leading up to nationals, you had been doing some shows, talking to judges, what do we need to improve? And we specifically had to make you look worse than you could, because you're so muscular and you get so lean. And so I remember saying, look, don't warm up backstage. We've got to keep your hydration low, or you're going to get too full, too hard looking. And so it truly is ironic that we had to make you look less than you could be. And that's how you won a national title.
And I remember getting up that morning, looking in the mirror and just kind of laughing at myself like, wow, I look so crappy. And sending you photos, and it was just like, we're shaking our heads and, oh, well, this is what it is. Here we are. And, I really was not expecting any. I was so relaxed on stage because I didn't have any expectation. And I think that's why it worked out as it did.
Right.
So it's probably the most relaxed I've ever been on stage, just because I was like, whatever, it's nothing. And that's when it happened. So pretty interesting.
So let me transition. I mean, I know you still train hard. You might compete again, but you've also become an amazing coach. And the coaching industry, when we started working together, I was the first and only online coach there was, with a business model saying, this is what I do. Now you see that everybody in the world coaches, some who have never even competed.
Yeah.
And I know people who are tremendous coaches who work with us, who are friends of mine, and they do extremely well. But a lot of these are men, and that's fine. But you have this edge. You've competed at all those levels. You've won world titles, pro cards, IFBB pro status. You've won fit body, figure, and you know what it's like being a woman in different contexts of your life. And I've seen you do some things that I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, but just from that perspective of being a woman coaching other women athletes, tell me about that. What kind of rapport and relationship can you bring to them that some coaches can't?
I think because I've been through the emotions of it. I've been through the agony. I've won. I've lost. I've come in the middle. I've brought my best to stage. I brought my less than best to stage, and also all the factors of life issues that, we go through and that you kind of have to work your way through when you're in competition prep. Life doesn't stop. But there's so many other factors, with relationships, family, social events. But at the same time, when you have a goal like this and you want to do well on stage, some things you kind of have to put on the back seat and prioritize well. And so, I understand those things. And, I understand kind of the mentality of trying to keep a balance, trying to maintain your relationships, and yet trying to push yourself as hard as you can so that you can bring yourself in. You've done all that you can. And once you've done all that you can, that's the best place to be. And so I think I'm able to say, hey, you can let it go. You've done everything that you can. And also to kind of have compassion when there is a stumbling, when there is a failure, or when there is a mistake. You just forgive yourself, have grace, get up and start pushing again, and not beat yourself up. So there's just a lot of mental, emotional, physical aspects that come along with it that most people don't realize, especially as new competitors, they don't realize. So I'm kind of able to help them work their way through that and just be a support.
Yeah, and you said something there that I am very fond of you for, and if there's one attribute I could say I'm most proud of you as a Diet Doc Team Klemczewski coach, it is that level of nurturing you give your clients. I have seen you alongside them. I've seen you help people win at every level. I mean, you've had some tremendous success with clients, but even somebody just starting out, you really do have this mothering aspect to your personality where you're always going to give everything you've got. Every single client you've ever had, I see their comments. I'm involved in some of the communication, even when I'm in the swing with you, with your clients, and that, you know, they just love you because of everything you give them. And that's something I think that you just have to have internally. That's an intrinsic strength of yours. But I think it also goes back to the fact that you have been there in those heels, on those stages, doing the exact same things that they're about to do. And you know what they're going to face.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So tell me right now, in your career, when you see these people coming up and you have seen the evolution of the sport as it has, is it still exciting for you to see these women getting, you know, just jazzed up about hitting this and all of their goals as lofty as yours were? Are you excited for them?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, sometimes I think I might even have to pull myself back a little bit, because sometimes I get the feeling I might be more excited for them than they are for themselves. And part of it is because I think I can see their potential a lot of times, and they've never been there yet. So they have no idea where they can be and what their body can look like. And I think I can tend to get a little bit overzealous. And so I have to kind of reel myself back and make sure that I'm in line with their goals, as opposed to jumping ahead and, you know, imagining the world for them. So, yeah, I need to assess, but it gets really, really exciting. Yeah, so I need to be kind of careful walking that fine line and not try to push too hard, and be sure that I'm in line with what they want, and also where they are capable of as it relates to incorporating this kind of a lifestyle into, you know, if they have a demanding job, if they've got children, you know, whatever their life is like, you know, it has to fit in.
Yeah, I often say the same thing. I remember when I started lifting weights at 12 years old, and immediately was absorbed into the bodybuilding soap opera culture of, you know, Mr. Olympia, all of those things. You know, those became my goals. And when you're 16, 20, 25 years old, that's okay.
Sure.
You know, as you get older, some things have to replace a little bit of that time. But with a lot of people, and I think especially women right now who look at the bikini, you know, category world in the IFBB, they really want exposure. They have a dream of becoming a model. They want to grace the cover of magazines. They want sponsorships. What would you say to those women? Because obviously you want to encourage their dreams and so forth, but how do you navigate both sides of staying real and also driving for the gold?
That's an interesting question. And I really try to, you know, I have a competitive nature, and I know what that feels like, and I know what that looks like. But at the same time, I think that it's important to not place your identity solely in those types of dreams, not because it's not achievable, but because it's not going to last. And so a lot of times I'll encourage ladies to focus on kind of their inner selves and being happy with themselves and loving themselves at whatever place they're at. So getting to an elite place where your body is in the best position or physique that you've ever had is super exciting. It's really motivating, but it can become dangerous as it relates to not being realistic and knowing that that type of a physique is not going to last for a lifetime. And it's, you know, and a lot of times you just can't live there. realistically. So I think that's kind of a really important issue in this sport, that people are able to love themselves at every stage of their conditioning. And when things happen in life that you don't expect, because there's always curveballs and always things that happen that throw a wrench in our plans, we have to show ourselves grace and love ourselves regardless of where we are. So it's a big deal.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly well said. I certainly, like I said, when I was 12 years old, I just knew I was going to be Mr. Olympia someday. And even though that didn't happen, it didn't crush me. I didn't end up in a gutter somewhere ODing because I didn't achieve my dream. Life has a way of auto-regulating and helping you adjust your sights a little bit. But like you said, you never know. And when that is your goal, use it to shape your work ethic and go for it, carve out that lane in your life where you can pursue it.
Yeah.
But don't let it dominate everything else and ruin other aspects of your life. So
yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Perfect. So you also, as a nutrition consultant, you own the Diet Doc of Sacramento or the Elk Grove area. So you've been a program owner with us for a long time. You're a Team K coach. You've also been one of our elite peaking directors. So really at the top level of coaching, in my opinion, and I know I want to, shuttle all of our best clients toward you because you're going to do a great job, but you also help soccer moms. You help anybody. I know you've helped, men in your area, guys who want to be in their best shape. So tell me a little bit about how you see a difference in somebody who is never going to be involved in any kind of a physique or performance sport, but they still want to achieve the greatest look and health they can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes even because I'm in the fitness industry and a competitor myself, and people know that I prep clients for physique competitions, sometimes it might be intimidating or they might shy away from working with me because of that, thinking that, I may have some preconceived ideas or just not feel comfortable. But no, as a matter of fact, I think I really have a lot of respect for people who just want to lose weight or have struggled with their weight and have the boldness and the courage to do something about it, to commit to changing their lifestyle. And, it can be kind of humbling to seek out help. And so I feel really honored a lot of times when people will come to me and allow me to be in that position of working with them through that really personal goal of theirs. So I really just feel honored a lot of times because it's kind of it can be a sensitive and really vulnerable place.
I agree. I mean, it's always fun. You've got these people who may not be pushing for some kind of an external goal, but really just trying to transform their entire lives from the inside out. And that is probably far more fulfilling for you than it is to see somebody win a title. I know it is for me to see somebody change from the inside out.
Absolutely. And it affects their family a lot of times too. It can affect everybody in their lives. And, when they make that kind of a change, children can see their parents becoming healthy and pursuing a healthy lifestyle, and it can really make a big difference in the lives of the children too. So that's super important.
So one of the things I should mention is you are Michelle Gomes, but formerly Michelle Shepard. So if somebody's looking back through all of this history and saying, well, where are all these world titles and pro cards and all this? They want to look you up. Some of your wins will be under the name Michelle Shepard. But how can people get a hold of you? Because I know in this industry, especially young women who are looking to just grow careers in this area, you are a role model with a wealth of knowledge. So how can people follow your social media and see what you're doing?
I think the best place would probably be Instagram. And on Instagram, I can be found at, I think I just changed it recently, but it's holyfit_IFBB Pro.
Okay.
And that's where I post the majority of my client photos, progression photos, kind of before and after. And I've got some of my own stage photos and competition prep photos as well there, as well as some men, actually, some men physique athletes and a few bodybuilders. You know, I think it takes a special kind of a guy to allow a woman to coach him to prepare for the stage. But I have had some, and they've done well. So
absolutely. And we'll make sure we've got your social media correct in the show notes so everybody can link to you there. And again, as a just general population nutrition consultants, as a physique competitive coach, figure competition, just tracking your own career. If you guys look up Michelle Shepard, Michelle Gomes, you're going to be very happy you're following her and staying up with where she is. So, Michelle, thank you so much for being in the coaching clinic with me today. It's been awesome having you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Joe. I've enjoyed it.
All right. Thanks, guys. And we'll be back with some more content in macro mastery and all kinds of different categories in the Life Mastery podcast.